Hi, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos for iChess.net, and we continue working on the London system. Now we'll see a game played by Grandmasters Grischuk and Bartel. So let's get started. d4, d5. We know our second move in this system is bishop f4, although we can also start with knight f3 plus bishop f4. We play bishop f4 here, c6, and this is one of black's most principled replies to the London system. Previously we saw how to play against c5 and the system where black plays with a quick e6 plus bishop d6. We also saw how to play against the symmetrical variation with bishop f5, and there's also the possibility to play in a Slav fashion. If a player plays the Slav against Queen's Gambit, he'll probably play c6 against the London system as well. So here, against the Slav setup, I like playing with c4. Usually when we play the London system, we prefer having the pawn on c3, but I think this is good to remember. When black plays the Slav, I like playing with c4. The point is, we'll probably transpose to a Queen's Gambit Slav, but we already have the bishop outside the pawn chain, and I think that represents a huge advantage for us. Black does the same by playing bishop f5. If he goes e6, we know this bishop on c8 becomes a tall pawn, crashing into the pawn structure, so bishop f5 makes much more sense, and here I like playing c4. In this game we'll study what happens after a quick queen b3, something we have been talking about in previous videos, but we haven't seen an example yet, so we'll see it here. So we play c4, he plays c6, that makes a lot of sense, supporting the center, knight c3, and knight to d7. Usually black develops the knight to d7 first, before playing knight f6, and the reason is important. If he goes knight f6, we can play queen b3, we already have targets, and well, queen c8 is playable, although this looks a bit passive. Maybe one day we can put some pressure on the c-file. It's not an ideal square for the queen. And if queen b6, which is the standard reaction, we can play c5. Now queen c7 is not possible. And after queen takes, pawn takes, we have an active rook on the a file. But more important, we'll play b4, b5 pretty soon, and we'll have a devastating queenside attack. Even if he plays a6, we play b4 and b5. Knight b7, b5, and he can just take once, but not twice, because rook a8 is hanging. Here we just move our knight, and then we continue with b4 and b5. It's going to be tough for black to defend his queenside. As we'll see, another idea is knight f3, knight d2, knight b3, knight a5, and the b7 pawn is too weak. This combined with b4, b5, combined with this advance, gives us a clear advantage. So now we'll understand why playing a quick knight d7 is better for black. We still play queen b3. Now black is better prepared to face c5. Again, queen c7 is not possible. He can take, pawn takes. Now he plays a6 urgently, b4, and we want to play b5 next. However, he plays rook c8 here, and if b5, of course, he takes, and we are just losing a pawn. That is the difference between playing knight d7 first instead of knight f6. Now black uses this important tempi to play rook c8 and stop our b4 and b5. I know this looks a bit advanced, but let's slowly analyze the move order once more. We have this position, knight c3, and we said knight d7 is better than knight f6. So let's see again what happens. Knight f6, we attack the pawn, he defends with queen b6, c5, takes, and now a6 is the only move to prevent b5, but even after this, since he played knight f6, it's not on time to play rook c8, and as we said here, knight f3, knight d2, knight b3, knight a5, or b4, b5, and we have a clear advantage. So, going back, we realize knight to d7 is much better. Queen b3, queen b6, and after the trades, if we play b4, black is ready to play rook c8, and he successfully blockades the queen side. Even if he plays this accurate move order, we can still fight for the advantage. We have this maneuver, as we pointed out before, and imagine we have that knight on a5. I think that's powerful because he cannot protect the pawn, the b7 pawn, with rook c8, with rook c7, or rook b8, because our bishop is there. So if we manage to get a knight on a5, he's in trouble. In this game, Grishuk plays knight f3 first. I don't think there's a real difference. He cannot stop b4. Even if he plays a5, we play b4. And he loses a pawn. And if he moves this b7 pawn, b6 or b5, we can just take en passant, and then he's full of weaknesses on the queen side. Not to mention his development is not good. So a6, okay, knight f3, h6. Looks like he wants to play an active game with g5, maybe. That would be a risky idea if we had queens on board, but since queens are off, it makes a lot of sense to play h6, g5. Black wants to get something in return. Some counterplay, some initiative. Our ideas as white are easy. On the other hand, black doesn't have any targets yet. So we continue with our plan. Rook c8, key move for black. If he plays something else, then we play b5. Well, this is even better for us because there's no clear way of stopping knight c7 and knight d6. And, well, of course here knight d6 wins on the spot, but imagine we had to go back to c3. We still have a clear advantage because there's no way to stop b4 and b5 and the other plan the well-known plan. But yeah, knight d6 is much easier. So he has to play rook c8. Then b5 is no longer possible. But okay, we go after the b7 pawn. And if he wants to play rook c7 or rook b8 at some point, he'll have to close this diagonal. I mean, knight b3 and knight a5 is coming pretty soon, so f6 smells like the only move, because e5 is next. Knight b3, e5, and I like moving the bishop. There's no need of opening that position like this. It is possible, but then I feel my c5 pawn is not that protected, that well protected. If I had a pawn on d4, it is much better. Here, for instance, the f6 square is available for his knight, whereas if I play bishop g3 here, there's no knight f6. What is more, the pressure on e5 continues. This knight on d7 is kind of overloaded, and if he decides to take on d4, I can consider knight takes, winning a tempo, or I can even consider pawn takes. And then the diagonal is being opened once more. Knight a5 is next, and it's the end of b7. So looks like bishop g3 is putting extra problems on black. And he plays bishop e7. I feel black's idea is to develop with bishop d8 and probably knight to e7. But even if he manages to do so, I mean, I'm happy by getting this powerful bishop on d8. That position is not open now, but I'm sure we'll open that position pretty soon. Maybe f3, e4. One day we can consider advancing our king side as well, and having the pair of bishops is definitely useful. So after bishop e7, I like this knight a5 as well. I mean, he's not on time to play bishop d8. Rook c7, and look how passive this rook is on c7. Well, rook b8 looks even worse, because despite protecting the b7 pawn, one day doesn't have to be now, but I mean, we can also consider this and this, and we'll get like 3 or 4 pawns for the piece. d5 is hanging, so is a6, so is e5. It's like everything is hanging. If we can consider stuff like this already, that means we have a big advantage. And if bishop takes a6 is not working yet, then we play bishop e2. I wouldn't castle. I feel my king is doing pretty good in the center already. And little by little, I'll think about the plan to break black's center. He cannot even move the e5 pawn because it's under a pin, and black's coordination is not ideal. So rook c7, I like bishop b2, maybe f3 is also playable. When I see bishop e2, I also see bishop h5 coming at some point. It is amazing how white is being coordinated here, and also how black, without making any huge mistake, got this passive position. He plays bishop d8. he castles. Okay, maybe we can stay with the king on d2 as well. I think both are playable. Maybe by castling, well, the king is somehow safer here, and we still continue with our idea to open the center. Sometimes I have the feeling we can play e4 without preparation. It all depends on how black plays, of course, but he's like being down a rook. That rook is overloaded, this bishop is not doing much, and he'll never play a reaction move like b6, because if he does, then the a6 pawn is hanging, and sometimes a pawn is more than enough to win. So knight e7, f3, bishop e6, well, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe bishop h7 or bishop c6, but I think this is better, because then if I play e4, then d5 is well protected. That doesn't stop us from playing e4. I mean, since we have the better development, somehow we have to punish this. So he plays h5. Very nice move by white, not risking much, keeping a solid position, and of course stopping black's ideas. He wants to play h4, and then we have to move our bishop back. So h3, h4, and bishop here. All this time black had the chance of taking on d4, but it is too risky. First we can take the rook, and maybe we have an in-between move like this. And after knight takes, maybe we can even consider this move. I mean, I don't think black has enough compensation for sacrificing the rook on c7, but given the chance, I would probably take on d4 as black, because I prefer having some initiative rather than defending a no counterplay position. So yeah, I would probably go e takes d4. What is more, this game was played in a rapid game, so e takes d4, trying to create some threats, it makes much more sense. I think white is better, but from the practice point of view, I try to play the best move, and from practice point of view, I think taking on d4, well, I think it is the most accurate. g5. Now we guard the d4 pawn. Now if he takes, we can even consider retaking, not risking a single pawn, attacking here, then attacking on d5. And of course, if he moves the rook, then b7 falls. And with b7, the rest of black position falls as well. So king f7. Now Grishuk finds a good time to take on d5, and I think the reason is, if knight takes, first we can consider a move like this, and we can even consider taking on d5, but I love the idea of playing knight e4 and knight d6. And if bishop takes, well, having the bishop pair in a position like this is too powerful. If we look at his light squares, he's gonna have a tough time defending this. Here the double pin is deadly for black. D takes e5 is coming, and he'll probably end up losing a pawn at least. So e d5, c d5, and eventually the break on b5 arrives. And the thing is, he'll lose the b7 pawn, and I think this is even worse. Now I see knight d6 check. And black's problem is the fact he cannot move the e5 pawn because the rook is still hanging. And if he cannot move the e5 pawn, and if he cannot take on b5, what is he going to do against b6? The real threat is b6, and then knight takes b7, and it's game over. So black decides to take on d4, but feels like it is too late. It was better to take on d4 a couple of moves ago. I mean, now white is better prepared to face black's counterplay, and this is an awesome in-between move. Rook takes, maybe he takes, and black's counterplay is based on dark squares, and here he's also trying to play maybe bishop takes a5 followed by knight b3. And of course now he gets this change back and he's up a pawn. So if somehow we stop that, then I still think black has decent counterplay on dark squares. So this is an awesome move because we are interested in trades, and now if he plays bishop e5, we keep that position closed, not to mention b7 is still hanging, and these two passers on the queen side, they'll probably decide the game. I mean c6, a6 is hanging, as I said b7 is hanging. No real counterplay. So after b6, black takes, we take, and the rest is pure calculation. We play rook b1, we know the b2 passer is not dangerous at all, and the rest is a matter of technique. The more we trade, better, because we are up this change, and after knight d8, wow, this is... I recall watching this game, but I forgot knight d8 was the finish. Now, of course, we win a piece. This change plus a piece, we are an entire rook up. But I was thinking maybe this. Knight takes c5, and even this endgame should be won, but okay. It's going to take much more time and moves compared to this knight d8 check. So, very nice game. Despite being a rapid game, I think it has a lot of stuff to learn, and this game shows the idea of c4 and queen b3. And remember, this plan works well when black plays the Slav system or the Slav defense, and that's played a lot, especially against the queen's gambit. So it makes a lot of sense black players play c6 against bishop f4 as well. So I hope this material was useful, and we'll continue analyzing in next videos. Thank you.
Hi, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to receive more free chess videos from us, you can just click the subscribe button below. I would also highly recommend signing up for my free mail course, the 10 Grandmaster Secrets to Dominate Chess. During this exclusive course from onlinechesslessons.net, I'll share with you my own Grandmaster shortcuts to effective attacking, defending, and growth hacks to improving your chess. without complicated books or memorization. So sign up by clicking the sidebar on the right, and I know you won't be disappointed. Once more, this is Damian for onlinechesslessons.net, and I'll see you in my videos. Thank you.